Irrational Raven, and tonight we're just going to dive right in. We're talking about people who blow their inheritance.
Don't let your kids blow their inheritance immediately. You've heard me tell this story many times where I was administering the estate after somebody had already passed away.
Okay.
And we wrote a very substantial check to somebody, over 6 figures, and they blew that entire check within 28 days.
6
On
figures?
the 29th day, they called me and said, can I get more money from the estate? And this sounds absolutely horrible, but unfortunately it happens on a regular basis. If you're doing your estate plan as a parent, you know your kids better than anybody else. If they're gonna do that, put some brakes on it. Maybe distribute that money a little bit each year so that they don't blow the entire inheritance all at once. Spread it out over a few years. Don't let your...
Wow. I mean, 6 figures in 28 days, and they wanted more money. I don't even know how to go through that. When I was, about 10 years ago, I inherited a little bit of money from my father, roughly $10,000. And at the time, I wanted to sell the house we were in, and so I used that money to put a new roof on it. We sold the house, and it worked out well for us because we turned it into more money. And I think maybe that was, take it or leave it. I thought for us it was a wise decision at the time.
I inherited about $150,000 from my father when he passed away, and I got that when I turned 18. I went through all of that in about 7 months. I had switched from the Percocets to now Oxycontin. I was buying 5 or 6 Oxycontin 80s a day, and I also had switched from swallowing the Percocets to now snorting, and then somebody showed me how to inject them intravenously, and so I was shooting up, 5 or 6 Oxycontin 80s a day, and that, that's a lot of money. At the time, those were $80 a pill.
Oh, jeez.
And I just burned through that entire inheritance, and I was so far deep in at that point.
Yeah.
Like the withdrawals were so bad. I had tried to stop at home. Like it wasn't just the few Percocet withdrawal anymore. Like it was full blown active addiction with consequences, and I still was not willing to say that I was one of them. I inherited about $150,000 from my father.
And this is something that, avoid those drug addictions at all costs. Someone commented here, I went through a $5 million inheritance in 5 years. That's $1 million a year without any drugs. Just severe depression for losing my entire family in 2014. That is pretty rough if you lost the entire family. It was like blood money to me. It made me sick. My trust was impeccable, but known they'd all die around the same time. No one knew. I think they meant to use no, the other version of no. I'm sure my grandparents thought if they went first, my mom would give me. I'm sure my mom thought if she went first, my grandparents would guide me. They all died in a 10-month period. That is really tough. That is really rough. Even still, I mean, having a little patience and allowing yourself to go through what you need to go through and then dealing with it, I think might be a little better response to that. His entire inheritance in 1.5 years.
Didn't you get like an inheritance though? If I'm not mistaken, I was scanning your notes before this.
Yep,
and that couldn't pay for any of your boozing. And when did you get your inheritance? And what even was it?
Yeah, I paid for all of it.
How much and when and for why?
Yeah, my father passed away in 2018 of April.
Sorry.
And he's better now, but he passed along $138,000 to me.
Wow.
What happened?
Wrong people around him.
What?
Well, right after that, I discovered adultery in my first marriage, and that
You discovered adultery as in she was diddling, or you were diddling?
I walked in on her diddling.
You walked it. Did you join? That's it. Sorry, you went through a bad time. I shouldn't joke about that.
But no, I walked in on that, and there was an aggressive divorce with that. Luckily, neither party took money from each other. It was a clean sort of divorce, but
That's
what
good.
happened was awful. That threw me down a really bad spiral.
Yeah.
He did this in a clean divorce. He got a clean divorce and he still spiraled out. I mean, most people lose a lot in divorces, so he was fortunate actually to have a clean divorce.
Yeah.
Of
It's
making
okay.
really bad decisions. Sorry,
Hey, it's okay. No. Take your time.
And believe me, the only person that doesn't forgive me is myself. So
Okay, why are you so hard on yourself about your past? Your past is your past, man. I have f***ed up so much in life, and there's
Amen
issues
to
with
that.
if you'd like some.
Oh.
I've
So
f***ed
have
up so
I.
much in life, man. But what defines me, who I am today, what I'm doing today, or what happened a few years ago? You know, you learn, you grow. It's the human experience. I understand. It's also a human emotion to always dwell on things like that. But what happened with the inheritance?
Yeah.
it all got spent on that Mustang you're looking at, even though it's not paid off.
Really?
The
Okay.
modifications for it was the big expensive
Hundreds
part.
of
Oh,
over
cars.
$100,000 into a Mustang.
a
Not
lot.
just a Mustang.
Not just a Mustang.
Okay.
Cars.
Booze, going out to eat, not
Were
having
you
a job.
working?
No, I wasn't working at the time.
Oh.
No.
Okay, so we weren't replenishing it at all. We were just using it for how long? Over the course of how long?
Year and a half.
I was an electrician at one point in my life, and I had a buddy who did the same thing. He inherited a fair amount of money. He went out and bought himself a Mustang. And I think it was around 6 months of him peeling the tires off that Mustang, and he wrecked it. And that was about the end of his inheritance. So same stories repeat themselves
Telling
here.
me
Span
the
of time.
inheritance was $45,000.
I did get some money from a relative a few years back. I
How
don't
much
know.
did you get?
I don't even remember. to
How'd
be
you get the
honest.
money? Why'd you get the
A
money?
relative was nice and gave it to me.
No, how much money?
I don't know.
No, about how much money? Hold on. No. How much money?
I really don't know.
How about?
I don't
Rounded. Give me a range then, lady.
I can say that I think I used like 10,000 to pay down the credit card.
You've got at least $10,000 and it's maxed out today.
Well, I don't
What the
have. Yeah.
Oh, 10,000. Oh, compounding an investment account that would have made so much money by the time you retire. Oh, for me.
Oh.
Over
Telling
the
me
span
the
of time.
inheritance was 45.
Honestly, it's not that hard to blow through 45 grand. I mean, I'm pretty frugal with my money, but if I wanted to, I think I could spend 45 grand in a day or two. Yeah, probably one day.
Your kid will completely blow their inheritance. Number one, they're under 18 when you pass away. So that means that they get complete control over everything that you owned as soon as they turn 18 with
That's a
no
good
strings
point.
attached. Do you
I
think
guess.
they'll make smart decisions with that money? Number two, they're not under 18, but they are young adults when this happens. Do you think they're going to spend that money on cars, vacations, or maybe going to a
Possibly.
state college like you would have wanted them to do? Probably not. Number three,
Some might.
they might not be physically immature, but they are financially immature. They're terrible with money. They may have declared bankruptcy. They are in debt up to their eyeballs, and they get all this money. That money's going right out the door to those creditors if they've got judgments against them. Number four, they have an addiction problem. Whether that's substance abuse or gambling or something else, they're not going to make smart decisions with that money if they get money inherited to them without any strings attached. Number five, they have an abusive spouse. There are many types of abuse, not only physical, but also emotional and financial. To protect that money, to protect your child from an abusive spouse before they get divorced or even during divorce proceedings, we want to make sure that they don't have full access to that money. And the solution for all of this is to put your money inside of a revocable living trust that you have complete control over
Yes.
while you're alive, but that we put restrictions on after you pass away.
Yes,
While
yes.
the kids are beneficiaries, it can only be used for things that you say they can be used for, like their health,
Listen
their
up,
education,
parents.
their maintenance, their support. It cannot go to an abusive spouse. It cannot go to a creditor or a bankruptcy judgment against
Yes.
them. It cannot go to substance abuse or gambling. You talk very carefully with your estate planning lawyer about how you want to craft the rules of this trust, but we want to make sure that this money is used properly, and by doing that, the way to do that is we put it in a trust.
Now, I completely agree with his sentiment of this video. So, if you are planning on leaving an inheritance for anybody, it's very, very wise to put it in a trust and to have that money doled out over time. I don't agree with all of his sentiments of age being the main factor. I think there's a lot of young people who are obviously very irresponsible, but that doesn't mean that every young person in this world is irresponsible. So I don't know. I mean, I was pretty irresponsible when I was young, though, having said that. And let's see, we've got another one here of kind of one of these. What
Most
you
people's
do.
inheritance disappears less than 5 years. That's because they're passing on cash without a plan. The rich, they're passing on rules for their money. So why do most inheritance vanish so quickly? Well, it's because people are just handing out the cash. They're handing out the money, the dividends, the stocks, the whatever it is. They're not giving their heirs the guidance. So the majority of those inheritances are gone in 5 years or less because they're just being spent.
Yep.
People get this money in their hands and they say, I'm going to go buy whatever it was that I needed. So what we want to do is we want to pass on values, rules, and systems, not just the money. Tools like trusts, family constitutions, and financial literacy plans keep that wealth intact. So without structure, money causes conflict and stress instead of lasting impact. If you want to make sure your legacy lasts, we can show you how to set up the...
Okay, I'm not going to listen to a sales pitch. But again, I think that it's basically the same idea as the last one. You need to set up a trust. Basically, there's a lot of attorneys out there who could set up trusts for people. We've got some comments here. Control from the grave. Yes, but it wasn't your money. It was money you inherited. It became your money. It's not money you earned. So I think that the people who actually earned that money have every right to have control over it from the grave. The next comment here. In this economy, people need to spend that money to live and pay off debt. Well, if you, if you put it in a trust and it pays out over time, then anybody who might have a good responsibility would see that they could dole some of that money back into their debt payments and pay their debt off over time. Just because you're doling the money out slowly doesn't mean they couldn't use it to pay off debt. So I think that kind of negates that argument, honestly. And if your inheritor has bad habits and is forming debt anyways, you give it to them all at once, the likelihood is A, they're not actually going to pay off the debt, and B, even if they do pay off the debt, they're just going to get back into debt again. Okay, so what do we got here?
With the inheritance money that my grandpa left me. Feel free to agree, disagree, put advice in the comments. Let me know your thoughts.
Okay, so here we got a young gal who, she even has a septum ring, but she's got it figured out. She only got $7,000, not a big inheritance, but check out what she's doing with it. She's young, but she's responsible.
So I'm 20. I have no major credit card or loan debts as of currently. That's my current financial situation. Each of my siblings were left $7,000. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put $3,000 of that into a CD for an entire year at a 4% rate. CD stands for Certificate of Deposit, and basically I get 4% of $3,000 in 12 months. I purchased the CD through my bank account that had my high yield savings account. It was very easy and it's very low risk. That money remaining? I plan on using in a year from now for my rent.
Okay.
Then $2,000 of it is going to go into my Roth IRA investment retirement account because there are no taxes on the earnings in my Roth IRA, and I love that. So $2,000 is going to go in there. It will probably be in something like the S&P 500 or a target date fund. Lastly, I am actually going to put $1,000 of it into crypto. I'm not sure which cryptocurrency I'm going to be purchasing, but I'm going to put $1,000 into that. Digital currencies are a risky investment, and it is only recommended by experts that you have 1 to 5% in something like cryptocurrency that is so risky, right? That being said, I am not listening to that advice for my situation. I'm going to put $1,000 in, which is higher than 5% of my portfolio, and I am comfortable with that decision for myself because I am 20 years old. So now is the time to invest in something risky when I have extra money like inheritance money. After all that, I will have $1,000 left that is not in any investments, that's not tied up anywhere, and I don't actually know what I'm going to do with it. Maybe I'll spend it on myself, or maybe I'll put it towards a study abroad program. I haven't decided yet. If you have any thoughts, you should put it in the comments. I hope that this was helpful for you guys when you have extra wealth to be like, okay, what did someone my age do with it, and does that apply to me?
So again, I think she's on the right track. When someone in the comments says, what about investing in gold? I've been thinking about that. I've been hearing that crypto is going hella down. So, the crypto market did take a pretty big tank, but to be honest, I invested myself in the crypto market a few years ago, and it more than doubled and when it was peak, and then it came down. But I'm still up from what I invested. So you really got to look at these things in terms of long term. And again, when it comes to crypto, probably should make a whole episode on crypto, but not all cryptos are created equally. So if you're investing in the meme coin scammy cryptos, then you're probably going to lose your money. But if you do your research and you invest in cryptos that have solid back-end platforms that have usefulness in the world, then you're probably a lot better off. At the end of the day, there will be winners and there will be losers, so it is still a risk. I won't deny that. Although I'm not going to put my weight behind any particular one here now. That's for another day. Someone else says down payment on a property, though, which is not a bad idea, but it looks like maybe she's not actually interested in having a property right now, since she's talking about studying abroad and maybe doing other things. And so, maybe a property is not the best investment for her. Some people, property is a great investment, but it's not always the best investment. Now, my wife and I have put the majority of our money into property, the house I'm sitting in, and that's great because we don't have to pay rent now. And I would recommend that to anyone who wants to have a house, but not everyone's in that position in their life. And what brought me to this topic in the first place was this morning I was reading here in Luke the story of the prodigal son. And not many days after the younger son gathered all together and took his journey into a far country, and there he wasted his substance with riotous living. And it's funny how things don't change that much over time, is it? Because he wasted his money on riotous living, and what did we see in the examples today? But a lot of riotous living. I mean, you're buying a sports car and tearing the wheels off, you have a drug abuse problem, etc., etc. So I hope you enjoyed the episode. Don't forget to like and share and all that good jazz. And I will see you on the next one. And if you got any ideas of what I should do on the next one, then feel free to put it in the comments. Check you later.